Hello everyone, this is Supersnoopy here, back with a Nostalgia Republic video. Today I have for you guys a Nostalgia Republic discussion video. Today's Nostalgia Republic discussion video, we're just going to be going over my rating story. So recently there was a comment that kind of brought me back to the time when I would, try to complete some of the harder content and all that different stuff. And just, general rating. So, I decided, hey, why not make a discussion video just kind of like discussing, what my rating story is. So, I mean, let's be honest, especially in MMOs, usually everyone has kind of like a story that is kind of like the reason why they decide to start rating and taking down, just some quality NPCs. So, I hope you guys enjoy this Nostalgia Republic discussion video. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, then make sure to leave a like. And if you guys want some gaming mints, then check the link in the description down below. Catalyst gaming mints. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the discussion. Alrighty, guys, so let's get into this discussion right now. So my rating story. So a lot of people always are like, hey, what's your rating story? What have you actually done in the game, and what's it all like led up to? And my story isn't something insane. It's not like, the story where it's like, oh yeah, I was just in a progression guild just clearing all the hardest content and stuff. Mine is actually pretty straightforward. So essentially I was in a couple guilds where we would just complete content all the time. We would just complete operations and raid stuff. It would be, some difficult content at times, some easy content. And, I would obviously do that with my guild. And then, of course, when I was bored and they weren't raiding at the time, I would just pug a bunch of stuff. I was, your typical person that would pug almost any content. As in, if someone was advertising an operation in the chat, then I would be always sure to try and join it. So that's how I would, I say, like, raid the most. Is I would, have my group of people that I'm in with a guild. I would just raid with them. And then, of course, I would just pug as much content as I could. Now, as of right now, I am in a guild called the Tragic Heroes. They do have, sales run groups. They do have, like, progression groups and all that different stuff right there. Obviously, I'm not in those because with the current state, I actually don't have, like, a set time where, I know that I'm going to be on. So I'm just, in the guild because, of course, with these people, these are a lot of the same people that I actually raided with in the past when I was just pugging stuff, and it was definitely very fun. So, I mean, yeah, we do have that right there. Anyways, besides that, we're going to look at the infamous achievements. Now, a lot of people may be like, Snoopy, that's just crazy low, dude. 68%, you clearly don't raid the hardest content. I mean, I would actually, be inclined to agree. Is, I basically would fight the bosses that I would want to fight. Essentially is I would join a raid. I would join almost every operation that I could at the time, but most of the time a lot of people were running Dread Fortress. As you can tell, I mean, if you look at my Dread Fortress, I have like 77 and everything else is like around the 50 range, but I mean, we did have that right there. So of course we have your good old archived. So obviously I would complete this in the past, of course, when these were on level, Nightmare Mode, EV and KP, no problem. Then we had, Explosive Conflict when that wasn't on level. I never did get these achievements, but I don't know, maybe I will get them eventually. Of course, we do have, the Gods from the Machines. I did, quite recently just complete, of course, the story mode. Just no big deal, just some quality story mode. Maybe once this operation is fully released, I will try to kind of like join a hard mode, but for, as of right now, I'm just not even bothering with that. Of course, we have the infamous legendary KP. Pretty straightforward, nothing too special about that stuff right there. Basically, if you just would go into any group or pug, you could do this with, your guild, your friends, and you could just pug it because obviously KP is no big deal. Then, of course, we do have Scum and Villainy. So, basic story to this is story mode, no big deal, just with any old group. Veteran difficulty, I believe I did actually do a run with most of the people that are currently in the guild I'm in right now. So of course we do have that right there. And then here we have, we have 8-person master difficulty. So with 8-person master difficulty, you guys can tell I only killed the first 2 bosses because it was a run for the, Crest of the Dreadmaster, the thing I'm currently wearing. So what we did is we split into 2 separate groups for 8-man, so we didn't have to deal with, a bunch of people on the screen at once. So we'd kill those 2 bosses, then we got together and we would just, kill the hateful entity. So pretty straightforward right there. We had a veteran difficulty. I don't actually remember the reason why we did not kill Styrek. I believe either, I was being terribly bad, which, I mean, there's always a chance for me to be terribly bad, or it was just the fact that we just kind of left, because let's be honest, Scum and Villainy can take, quite a while at the time. At least in my opinion, Scum and Villainy can take a while, so that could have been another reason right there. And of course we have a Temple of Sacrifice. Straightforward once again, story mode and no big deal. Story on 16-man, this was bugged at the time, didn't get this achievement. Then veteran. So I was one of the people that actually didn't complete, Temple of Sacrifice, or rather, I was one of the people that completed some of the bosses when, it first came out, and then I basically just kind of like stopped and kind of, I guess I don't want to say like gave up, but like I couldn't really find a group at the time that was really focusing on Revan, or really the Revanite commanders. So obviously under Lurker, always a fun fight. We just got all the basic stuff there. But I know that they have nerfed this operation a lot. I feel like with most of these, when I'm looking at them, it just kind of makes me want to go back to completing, some of the harder difficulties. Because I mean, let's be honest, I am a story mode pug warrior, but I'm okay with that. So here we have Terror from Beyond. Once again, straightforward story, hard mode, no big deal. We have a master difficulty. Remember, I joined a group, I actually don't remember, quite a while back. Obviously, first boss was incredibly easy. This one, I believe it was like a DPS fail. Obviously, you can blame me because, once again, I am the pleb here. But I think it might have been a DPS issue. I don't exactly remember, but, kind of gave up on that. Then we have, 16-man. Who cares about that? No big deal. Then we move on. And then we have the Dread Fortress. So I completed this operation like so many times. It's kind of like ridiculous. I could have been, focusing on all these different operations, just trying to complete them, getting achievements and stuff. But I mean, Dread Fortress is basically, I've just figured out that whole entire operation just backwards and forwards because of the amount of times that I've, actually completed it. So story mode, no problem. Veteran mode, no problem. Story mode, once again, no problem. Veteran, no problem. And then we actually have, 16-man master. So I completed this operation like a ridiculous amount of times, but it was definitely very fun because the goal was, of course, the wings. So I would just keep doing it with a similar group. Once again, in my guild, they were completing this because they did have it on farm. Because, I mean, this was during the time of like the grace period, I call it, where, you have 5 extra levels, so you didn't really have to worry much about the DPS checks and whatnot. So, I mean, during that time period, just had it on farm, no big deal, just constantly defeating it. And after I killed it a certain amount of times, it was like kind of like my turn to actually get, the wings. We were just kind of like go in order of just people going in. As in, people wanted the wings, so we would all go in as like the same group and just keep killing the bosses just constantly every week. And eventually everyone just had like their little pair of wings. So I did in 16-man, and then of course I, they needed someone for an 8-man run at one point, so I just joined in at the last boss, so I did get that right there. So, yeah, I mean, we have that.
I'm mad. Not as mad as me.
And then we have, the quality at Karaga's Palace, like operations and stuff going on. Then we do have the story difficulty. So, story straightforward, veteran straightforward, veteran once again straightforward. We have Master, killed these 2 bosses, no big deal. We just, have these bosses still active. Once again, I was the kind of person that would join groups. I may have to leave like early or something. I would kind of be like that person, as in, don't count on me on stuff, and people were okay with that. So, I mean, my achievements are all over the place. I was one that never really cared about Ravagers. I know that that was a really big deal at the time. To actually like kill it. I'm not actually sure just yet because I'm not one of the people that's like focused on intense operation. I say like operation stuff. So we do have that right there. Now I'm actually not paying attention. I mean, I know I'm fighting a boss right now. I'm probably like completely messing my team up, and I'm being kind of like a bad teammate right here. But I'm kind of focused on this right now. Now we also have the epic enemies. Straightforward, just kill this guy on the hard difficulties. completed this, no problem. Eyeless, no problem. Then we have the Colossal Monolith. And then I remember we did this on veteran mode, 16-man veteran. That was definitely pretty fun because, I mean, you got so much lag with that fight. That was basically the fight of lag, which is definitely very funny. So, I mean, we do have that right there. And I think I have said this in the past before, but once again, I mean, a lot of people always say, you know, oh, Snoopy, you got completely carried. But I mean, once again, I was one of those players, once again, like a pug warrior, as in, if I saw an operation going on, I would just join it. I would just, you know, let people know, hey, you know, I'm new to this, or, you know, I'm not new to this. And then, obviously, I would just join runs because I saw, you know, some cool stuff that I wanted. I always wanted to get the Crest of the Dreadmaster because I, like, always liked the Dread Guard helmet. So I was like, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and get that. Kind of, like, put my mind to it, saw that someone was doing a run, and then I basically agreed to, like, learn the fight, and it did work out pretty well. Same for Dread Fortress and all that different stuff, learn the fights. Took, you know, some adjusting, as, I mean, I don't want to, like, completely ruin the fights for people, so I kind of, like, got adjusted. No big deal. Then we had the Colossal Monolith. That fight is very straightforward. You just gotta, like, pay attention all the time, learn that. I mean, other than that, everything else it worked out pretty well. Now, a lot of people are probably wondering, wow, you're Snoopy, your little raid story is pathetic, man. You've, like, completed nothing on the hard difficulties. Which, I mean, I can agree. Obviously, you know, I'm not someone to ask for, oh, hey, you know, Snoopy, what is this parse? Or, like, Snoopy, you're just, like, a pro raider. You know, I'm just someone that likes the gear. I was, like, willing to learn. And, of course, I did it with people that obviously were okay with me kind of being, like, the learning noob. Now, my guild currently definitely does a lot of progression, and that's the main reason why, of course, I did join this guild. I have mentioned this in a past video, but I mean, like I said, the guys in my guild did complete this content, and they still are doing, like, progression and stuff, so they're just, like, completely killing it. I mean, I don't know, maybe sometime soon or maybe sometime later, I will try to join progression or just, like, try to do something, you know, with more of the hard content. So, I mean, when I did it, you know, most definitely enjoy it. But at the time, at the time right now, I feel like I don't really have time to, like, dedicate, like, kind of, like, agree to do something at a certain time because I am always busy and I don't want to, like, ruin the experience for others. But other than that, guys, I think that's all there really is to this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.